assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready.
Alright, this is gonna be a video response to my amigo, my good buddy, freaking Yaya88, also known as Miguel. He poured his heart out in his last video, talked about just the streak of watching Raw and how he's such a big fan. And it just feels like he's just watching Raw now because it's just what he's used to doing. He's trying to introduce people, his lady friend, into wrestling. And I've been there, I've done that. And it's a different approach. People watch wrestling for their own reasons now. And for me, the last time I tried watching Raw was about 3 weeks ago. It was the night after Survivor Series, Sheamus cashed, or whatever pay-per-view it was. The night after, Sheamus cashed in, and I watched, kind of. I mean, it wasn't anything special. It was, you know, I've really no clue the last Raw I watched and paid attention to from 8 o'clock to 11:15 p.m. It's been years, I would say, that I can sit here honestly, no breaks, maybe, you know, a piss break here and there when the Divas match come on, but for the most part there has not been a Raw, I would say, in at least a year that I've sat here and just watched, because the product has gone so downhill for me. And I know it's crazy for me to say, because you look behind me and people come in here all the time and they're like, oh, you're so passionate about wrestling. Like, it's cool that you just love something so much that you can, like, invest this much time and money and effort into it. Like, yeah, but on the other hand, not so much. I always have to tell people, like, man, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm not the biggest fan as I once was. Don't get me wrong. It's like, I still keep up with everything that's going on to a certain point. I'm so glad that now I can literally go on Twitter and just, like, look at these 5-second gifs of, like, Sasha Banks twerking that ass of hers, and I'd be like, man, that's all I had to see at Raw. Like, that, done. Raw's finished. But in all seriousness, like, you can literally go on Twitter and they have those, like, few second clips from Raw from the pay-per-view, so you can literally catch up on everything within 5 minutes. A 3-hour show just mashed up in 5 minutes. Perfect. You know, I don't waste my time and I don't get upset because I know I'm going to get mad, because you sit there and I think people who are just so passionate about wrestling, we like to pick everything apart because we know in our mind what we want to see. And when we see them doing something else that maybe isn't, like, the greatest thing, we just lash out on everything. And I'm guilty for it. You go look at my Twitter, it's just bashing them left and right. The main problem with wrestling now is the 50-50 booking. And I think if things were a little more on track and if things actually had a meaning and a purpose, wrestling would be a lot different thing than it is now. When you got things like a guy winning this week, losing the next 2 weeks, then winning the next 3 weeks, and then losing the next 2 weeks, who cares about the guy? And he'll end up winning the Royal Rumble and he'll end up main eventing WrestleMania, but he lost literally 5 weeks in a row before that. And Dolph Ziggler is that perfect example, and Dean Ambrose and whoever else. But for me, it's just like whatever. I've kind of accepted the fact that wrestling is kind of not what it used to be. I don't watch like I used to. I don't collect like I used to, as you guys can tell by the lack thereof in unboxing videos. Videos have kind of gone down, but I try shooting one out here and there, but for the most part, it's not anything like where I would come on here and do pay-per-view predictions, Raw reviews, this, that. It's all in the past. Will wrestling ever be good again? Sure. I'm sure when the Royal Rumble comes around, my energy will be rejuvenated, like it always is. And every single fan will tell you who go to WrestleMania, that January, the build-up to the Royal Rumble, the Rumble itself, and that whole build-up to WrestleMania is the best time to be a fan. Because that's when you're paying the most attention, because you know the payoff, you're going to be there for WrestleMania. And that weekend, that Tuesday, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're the biggest fan in the world. Nothing can ever touch wrestling. Wrestling will be in your life till the day you die. Those 5 or 6 days. Maybe the next day after that. Maybe the next day after that. And then that Monday comes, and it's just a slow decline. We're right back to where we started. It's just like, ugh, here we go again. But that week, prior to that, you are on cloud 9. Nothing can take you off that cloud of just like, wrestling is the best. And I look forward to that time, because it's just like, man, like, I know I sound crazy, but you can ask Justin, ask Miguel, ask Steve, like that's the time to be a fan, is when things are just so good. And they might not even be that great. It's just like inside, you know that WrestleMania is coming and the granddaddy of them all. But when it comes to other fans getting into it, I know with Jade, it was easy, really. I took her, the first show we went to was some Monday Night Raw, and for her, it wasn't even the in-ring product. It was more the spectacle, the fireworks, this, that, the big crowds, the fancy setups, which is what a casual fan is really there for. You know, you show them an indie show and it's kind of like, oh, it looks kind of low rent, this, that, because they're used to this big spectacle. So with her, it was a spectacle that caught her eye. Then came ROH, where she really saw the athleticism part of it. So from ROH, she became more of an ROH fan than WWE. And then from there, you know, it was the superstars that kind of guys like Davey Richards, Kevin Steen, El Generico, Eddie Edwards, Roderick Strong. The cream of the crop of ROH is what got her and I hooked on the product. But after those guys left, things kind of went downhill. And not gonna lie, like we went, the last show we went to was the New Japan show, and for her it was like a whole nother door opening where you guys Shinsuke Nakamura, you got God, I'm forgetting their names now. Justin's gonna hate me right now, but Shinsuke Nakamura, you got the Rainmaker Okada, you had what is the guy's name who plays the guitar? I'm gonna be like Justin and pronounce guys' names wrong. Man, what's his name? Tanahashi. I knew this. Tanahashi. How do I forget Tanahashi? Guys like that, she saw how good they are and just like crazy, amazing stuff. And they mixed in with ROH guys that she already liked, like the Briscoes and Michael Elgin. So it was a cool little twist because, you know, I'm not going to lie, ROH got a little repetitive after a while because it was really the same guys, just mix them up a bit. But it wasn't like the same, you know, the best show I think ROH was ever put on was the Death Before Dishonor 7, which was Tyler Black versus David Richards. That was like the best, the gold standard of shows. And not gonna lie, ROH has never put on a bad show here. Maybe one or two, but for the most part, they've been excellent. But towards the end, it did get a little bit stale. Like for Miguel, this is just my little advice to him. Like, you gotta start off with like the WrestleManias. You can't. I know showing someone a PWG clip is cool. You know, guys are flipping, they're throwing each other in chairs and garbage cans and flips and this and that, but for me, you gotta think like a casual fan. If you were just getting into something, like if I were to get into football, I don't know anything about football, but I wouldn't watch just a random Sunday football day with the New York Giants and Bufftown Bills. I'm not gonna watch it. I would watch the Super Bowl because it's the biggest show of the damn year. This is a little advice to you. Me talking to my buddy Miguel. Take my advice, pal. It'll work. But then you slowly introduce them to the nitty gritty, you know, the stuff that you watch. But you got to start off with like the cream of the crop. But that's my video today. So, you know, I think I covered a lot of stuff. I think. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.